Hello farmers, and welcome back to Farmers Weekly. We're currently with the RMIS. I've got John Steenhuisen with me, and they're at the launch of the traceability system. We're going to find out exactly how government plays their part, what John thinks about where we're going, and what the solutions are for the future. John, how are you doing?
Very good, and great to be here with the paper of record.
John, if we look at systems like this, we've had a few launches, I think maybe more than 10 launches in the traceability sector, never really got anywhere. Suddenly, within 18 months, they've got industry working together. From your side, that must be something showing that the need is now enough so that we work together.
Well, absolutely, and I think that there's two big drivers of this. First is obviously the foot and mouth disease, which has shown how we need a traceability and surveillance system in the country. And secondly, the pressure that we're getting from international and local value chains around being able to trace where South African red meat has come from and what has happened to it and where it's been processed. And pretty soon internationally it's going to be impossible to be able to sell your product abroad without a traceability system. So I think those are two big drivers there. But I think the beauty of this system is it hasn't been designed by some official sitting up in an office in Pretoria hatching a plan without understanding the reality on the ground. This has been a ground-up, industry-driven approach, and it's now for government to take hands with the industry approach and to make this the standard now across the country. It's going to provide dashboards for government as well in terms of animal movement, disease control, but also I think it could have a very big impact on stock theft. Being able to move animals without a permit or without the relevant paperwork is now going to be a lot harder, and I think that's going to also assist us with stock theft. So I'm very grateful. Again, this is another good example of the government taking hands with industry to be able to come up with a solution.
When we look at the industry as a whole, there's always people that are scared when government's involved. There's still a distrust that comes over many years, over 100 years, and in any government and organizations. How do we ensure our farmers and our producers at the end of the day that from a government agricultural side that you're working with the farmers, you're working with the systems, and this is not to play watchdog, this is to make sure that we can export to Vietnam, we can export to China.
Well, I think that importantly to know that none of this data will be sitting on government servers. The data is all remaining on the industry servers. Government will be able to access relevant information about disease outbreaks and the movement, and we will obviously then give authorizations, particularly out of DMAs and the like. But this is an industry-driven initiative. It's not a government initiative, but we will want to partner. The assurance I would give to them is that what you are going to get out of doing a system like this is you're going to start to realize a premium on your product. If we are able to go to other markets, Vietnam, Malaysia, where we've just returned from, but also existing markets like China, if we can give them the assurance of a traceability and surveillance system, it's going to mean we can obtain a premium for our products abroad. Other countries like Australia are already reaping that premium, and it's time now for South Africa to be able to get in on the picture. It will also give us the opportunity to be able to get on top of, instead of following diseases like foot and mouth disease, which means that we can open up whole new markets like Europe where our neighbours are benefiting from access to those markets, where our excellent beef products are currently not able to be sold. So I'd see positive, and there's nothing sinister about this. I'm not wanting to know how many cattle you have on your farm or going to report you to SARS. I only want to know when you move your animals from your farm to an abattoir or feedlot that those animals are part of a system that we can trace and track. So if there are problems down the line, we're able to go back and deal with them. And I think it's going to bring a lot more transparency and I think a lot more fair play within the industry as well.
Yeah, John, foot and mouth has been the talking point since you became minister. Looking at the resilience of the market within this big problem that we're trying to steer, we still see great prices for farmers. We still see a growing industry, and we saw that in COVID as well. An industry that just stands up and stands strong, and I think that is something that a country should get behind and say, but this is an industry we need to look after because it is an industry that can always survive and always will survive.
Well, absolutely. And I mean, the agriculture sector as a whole is the one sector that's keeping the economy afloat. If you look at the last 2 quarters of economic performance, it's agriculture that is shooting the lights out and stopping us from falling into a recession. So the red meat sector and the livestock sector is integral to the agricultural sector. And so, yes, we're seeing great prices, but what we now want to do is to start accessing premium great prices outside the country as well for our products. And that's why systems like this are fundamentally integral to that strategy, to be able to take South African beef and lamb and other meat products into other markets. And the first thing people ask when you want to talk about meat, they say, what systems do you have in place to monitor? What are your surveillance? What assurances can you give us? Now being able to go to those countries and present to them this model that we're using is going to make sure that the door is even wider open than it may be currently.
A big question that I do see running around on social media, I think it's something that we need to address. Who will be the first feedlots that gets access to the vaccinations? How are they selected? And farmers that does have an outbreak, how do you make sure that this gets distributed equally and fairly?
So what we've done is, for the very first time, allowed the industry itself to purchase vaccines. That's never been happened before. It was always the department would purchase the vaccines and they would then decide. So I think it's important that the industry plays a role in that. So we're allowing industry, feedlots and others to purchase vaccines directly, and RMIS is looking at building a vaccine bank of their own. What this then does is frees up the department to focus on those more communal areas and other areas where they necessarily can't afford the vaccines. So I think you will see the equity in this, and that government will focus on those areas which are harder to reach for the industry and the more informal parts of the economy, and feedlots who really can take care of themselves can access their own vaccines. It then reduces the burden on government as well, because the vaccines that we purchase can then be rolled out in bulk in communal and more rural areas, and freeing up government's expenditure to focus on those areas.
John, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And yeah, I appreciate the work you do in the industry. And yeah, I think your family must miss you because you're at every second event.
Well, as I say, there's only one culture that matters, and that's agriculture. So.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Okay, we have John Steenhuisen, our Minister of Agriculture, doing a hell of a job. And yeah, I can't wait to see what this industry does for us in the next year.